having this ride.
Good day. The early to mid 2000s was really a heyday for the first-person shooter genre. They still had great fast-paced run-and-gun gameplay from the previous era, but now this gameplay actually had context. Now you had more to do than just run forward and kill everything. AI and enemy types were also getting more varied and complex. Now enemies were getting smart enough to fight back instead of dying in droves. Now here we have Return to Castle Wolfenstein, a sequel/remake of what is quite literally the first-person shooter. It is one of the best examples of that new breed of first-person shooters. Graphically, the game was quite good looking, with the enemies looking quite detailed, more so than just about any other at that time. Really, this is one of the first games to reach the graphics plateau. Essentially, in the early 2000s, graphics reached a point where they still look good even to modern eyes. The 3D models and levels here look as good as any seen today. Sure, modern graphics may be sharper with slightly better textures, but they will still look pretty much like this. Gameplay is that of a first-person shooter, as one would expect. But there is more to do than just shoot, and at times there are other ways of dispatching enemies than just shooting them. You get a knife, and you can perform stealth backstabs. As you can see, it's pretty bloody effective. There are also objects that you can interact with, such as alarms, and switches that can lead to secret areas. That's really the best thing about this game. The secrets are handled just like they were back in the day. You activate something and then a bit of the wall moves. And then you can of course find weapons and ammo, or gold, which is just an amazing little touch. Another cool thing is that the game gives you your stats upon completion of a level, and it tells you how many attempts it took to complete it. So if you suck tremendously, you will know just how bad you suck. AI for the game is really quite good. The enemies actually know how to get into cover and will work together to kill you. Furthermore, the instruction manual even says that enemies are smart enough to kick grenades at you, which they do to pretty good effect. Sound for the game is pretty damn good. Return to Castle Wolfenstein was really one of the first games of that era to have an overly orchestral soundtrack, and it actually does a good job of giving the game a nice dramatic feel. Now all the weapons sound really good, with the MP40 sounding really deep and powerful and more menacing than it has since. Voice acting is also spot on, and pretty much better than any other voice acting heard in any other first-person shooter game of this era. The story for the game is deep and complex. On the surface, the game may appear to be just another generic war shooter, but it is anything but. The plotline does not just stay in basic World War II territory. Essentially, it's not even until halfway into the game that the real villain is even mentioned. And when you finally get to the end of the game, well, let's just say it's a metric ton of awesome. Thankfully, this game was not affected by the later FPS standard 2-weapon rule. You can carry a huge number of weapons, and ammo is actually handled realistically. You see, you eventually get a Thompson submachine gun, but you never actually get any ammo for it because you're behind the German lines and they don't use that particular weapon. Really, the main weapon you'll be using in the game is the solid and dependable MP40. Not only was it an exemplary weapon in real life, but here it is basically the main weapon of the game. It has a great rate of fire, and you trip over so much ammo for it that you never really will run out. Then there is the sniper rifle. It's accurate, ammo is somewhat plentiful, and it's very powerful. The silenced Sten is okay. It allows for stealth, but not much else, as it overheats quite quickly. Now, there are many other great weapons to be found in the game, but I don't want to spoil them here. But let's just say, on some of the harder enemies found later in the game, you definitely need to get Old Painless out of the bag. The enemies have a very wide variety, as they range from the generic infantryman to the elite infantry woman that is armed with a silenced Sten. And if you think that doesn't make sense, then guess what the next type of enemy you fight is? Zombies! Yes, in this game, You don't just fight half the German army. Instead, there are various paranormal and cybernetic enemies to be found. In short, the game does not ever get boring on the enemies front. So in the end, Return to Castle Wolfenstein was just as epic and legendary as Wolfenstein 3D. It had great throwbacks to classic first-person shooting, while still keeping with the then modern style of first-person shooting. This is a game that is, of course, a must-have. And so, this is John, signing off.